Hello and welcome to the Met Office Week Ahead forecast. It's time for something completely different. Having droned on about low pressure for what seems like months on end, we're now talking about high pressure, and that high pressure is here to stay for at least a week. It's currently sitting in the North Sea. It will slowly meander across the UK over the next few days, moving across northern parts and then later in the week sinking south into Ireland. All the while, the wind direction will change slightly, and that will have an impact on temperatures and whether we get rain or snow. But there won't be much rain or snow because high pressure will generally be keeping things settled. That is until the end of the week. As we go into the weekend, that high pushes to the west of the UK, and with a deepening area of low pressure moving into Scandinavia, well, we're going to see a brisk northerly airflow. A weather front comes south, and after that, a return to colder conditions. I say a return because if we go back to the time of recording, you can see that we've already got cold air across the UK, in particular across southern parts because of an easterly wind that's brought the cold air in. And that air is cold enough for snow to be falling. In fact, we've seen snow falling in many parts of the south and southeast through Monday afternoon. Now, over the next few days, we'll actually see some milder air go in around the top of that high pressure and come in from the northeast. Now, the reds and oranges there make it look warmer than it will actually be because this is sampling the temperature at 5,000 feet or 1,500 metres. It's a good indicator of how the temperatures will change, but it doesn't necessarily reflect the actual temperatures at the surface, which will stay on the chilly side, only recovering to around average later in the week. But then as that high pushes to the west and we get the northerly, the blues return. And so through the weekend, turning colder once again, this time not from the east, but from the north. More on that in a moment. For the time being, as I mentioned, rewinding the clock to Tuesday morning, we've got that cold air in place and perhaps a centimetre or so of snow in one or two spots to the south and southwest, the odd icy patch. But generally, it's dry air that we've got moving in from the east. Certainly, it's going to feel on the cold side first thing. These are the temperatures as we wake up on Tuesday. -1s, -2 Celsius, feeling much colder than this would suggest because of the brisk east to northeasterly wind. So a cold start, some frost and pockets of ice around, but it's actually a bright start for many of us. Cloudier skies towards the south and southwest, and just some remaining sleet and snow showers perhaps in the far south of Devon and southwest of Cornwall, for example. They'll continue until lunchtime before disappearing. Otherwise, plenty of sunshine breaking out across southern parts of the UK away from the southwest. Western Scotland, Northern Ireland, northwest England also faring well as West Wales for sunny spells, but we'll see thicker cloud into the east and northeast and some persistent fog around the Moray Firth. So certainly going to feel cold where that persistent fog sticks around, and generally temperatures are going to be struggling through the day, at best 2 to 4 Celsius in many places. And actually, those temperatures are significantly below average for the time of year. If we look at how those temperatures compare with the January average max temperature, this map shows that widely across the UK, it's 3 to 6 Celsius below average, more than 6 Celsius below average across the southwest of England and where we've got that persistent fog in the far northeast. Closer to average along the North Sea coast because of the breeze coming in from the North Sea. It will be a brisk wind. It's not going to make it feel particularly warm, but it will keep temperatures above zero by the time we start off Wednesday, so frost-free here. Otherwise, a widespread frost across the UK. Temperatures in towns and cities, -1, -2 Celsius, lower than that in the countryside, of course. But actually plenty of bright skies in the south and west. We've got cloudier conditions across northeast Scotland into the north and east of England, and actually the cloud becoming thick enough at this stage for some light drizzly showers moving in from the North Sea, and those showers will be falling as snow over the tops of the Pennines, the southern uplands, for example. Now, these showers are not going to amount to much in terms of total rainfall, but it's going to feel fairly miserable where we've got the cold wind and those showers and some low cloud coming in from the North Sea. Otherwise, plenty of crisp winter sunshine across southern and northwestern parts of the UK. And generally, temperatures a little higher compared with Tuesday, 6s or 7s by the afternoon. Thursday starts off frost-free where we've got the cloud cover, but where we've got the clear skies, Western Scotland, Northern Ireland, some western parts of England and Wales, and the south, of course, will see a touch of frost. Otherwise, a lot of cloud, and that cloud's sinking south. So a cloudier day for the south, but sunnier skies for central and western Scotland, for example. There will be a few breaks in the cloud elsewhere. Generally, though, under the cloud, it's not going to feel very pleasant. That cloud will still see some drizzly showers across some North Sea coast. Temperatures generally 6 or 7 Celsius, so a degree or so higher compared with Wednesday. Back towards average for the time of year, although still limited in some spots. It's by this stage, later Thursday, that the high pressure starts to sink south into Ireland. And what you can see is the winds at first are coming in around that high from the Atlantic, so a relatively mild direction compared with the easterlies we start the week. But this cold front is approaching, and that will bring a spell of rain later on. We start the day with plenty of clear skies for Scotland, parts of northern England, Northern Ireland as well, some frost and pockets of fog where those clear skies remain. Further south, it's cloudier, 5 to 7 Celsius first thing. But it does turn much cloudier in the north and northwest by the end of the afternoon, with outbreaks of rain pushing into northern Scotland. The rain then sinks south later on Friday as the cold front sinks south. Some uncertainty on the timing of this. Different computer models have this position slightly differently. But either way, the front is going to progress southwards across the country as we begin the weekend, opening the door to cold Arctic winds. And those winds bringing a return to air that will be cold enough for snow. At first, we'll see, I'd say, rain, sleet and snow showers coming in from the north, but eventually the colder air pushes across all parts of the country by the end of the weekend and into the start of next week. And this trend shows up nicely on this graph here. This is for Leeds, but I could have chosen anywhere across the UK. They all show a similar trend. Now, this shows the temperature at 5,000 feet, and that's because 5,000 feet is a good indicator of how the temperatures will vary without the day-to-night differences. Now, the solid line shows the main run of the European model, and that shows the increase in temperatures as the wind changes later this week and into the start of the weekend before this sudden drop back to where we started, really, for the start of next week, and then that solid line remaining fairly low throughout next week. The other dotted lines are the different ensemble members of the European computer models. So it's run 52 times, and we can then see whether the different variations of the model are showing similar trends, and they are indeed all showing cold weather through next week. And what's also interesting is the precipitation. So very little signal for precipitation, rain or snow, through this week, but then we see with the solid line there, the main run, and all the different ensemble runs, the dotted lines, an increased signal for some precipitation into next week. So if you combine the cold air through next week with the signal for some precipitation, then it looks like there'll be some snow around as well. Too early to give details on that. We will, of course, keep you updated right here at the Met Office. You can find those updates on our YouTube channel. Bye-bye.